but it could have been a lot worse. And, if they had been up against a much more formidable offense, it could have been worse. But Sam Darnold turned out to be the Sam Darnold of old. He telegraphed 3 picks. Of the next 3 games, this was probably the game the Eagles had the best opportunity to win a game in, but they were going to earn this one. I mean, they had 273 yards of offense, and they earned every bit of this because, like you said, they did shoot themselves in the foot a number of times, but Carolina gave them fits. I mean, Carolina plays a lot of man defense, and you look at how many times Jalen Hurts threw the ball out of bounds because nobody was open for the most part. Mm-hmm. And, all of a sudden I'm thinking, what are we going to say differently about an Eagles loss that we haven't said the previous 3 weeks?
Right.
You know?
Boy, never doubted him for a minute. Right there, everybody. Eagles get the victory. Welcome into live post-game show presented by Ocean Casino Resort. My name is Mark Barzetta. We got Derrick Gunn right there. We got Devin Caney as well. Trey Thomas will be joining us a little bit later in the show. John McMullen from the stadium will be joining us as well. So here's what I was thinking about 3.5 quarters through the game here, guys. I was thinking, man, this is a really dumb football team. I mean, defense is bouncing back. They're looking good. They're looking strong. They got momentum going. I'm seeing a guy like Ja'Marr Avery actually make plays for this Eagles team for the first time in his Eagles career, and I'm actually thinking, hey, Jonathan Gannon, way to go, buddy. You've done a nice job with your defense and bouncing back this week. And then everything nice I could say about the Eagles defense, I could say the exact opposite about the Eagles offense. No fluidity. Jalen Hurts way off his targets. Guys dropping balls. Offensive linemen making mistakes. Illegal man downfield. Holding penalty. Whatever it was always a mistake by the Eagles offense. And it was something they were doing to themselves. It wasn't something that the Carolina Panthers were doing to force them into any type of mistake, as my microphone freaks out. But as I'm watching this game, I needed something to happen to make this a win for the Eagles. I had picked the Eagles to win this game, and then lo and behold, after the Eagles can't convert a 4th down on a play that I put on Jalen Hurts more so than I put on Zach Ertz. Sure, it might be a drop in the Eagles' book, but Jalen Hurts has to put that ball on target. He didn't do that. Defense steps up again, makes a huge play. They don't allow the Panthers to convert on a 3rd down situation. Then the defense steps up. Your punt team steps up with a blocked punt, handing a beautiful gift to the Eagles offense. They convert it for not 6, but 8 points, take a huge lead, and they're able to seal the deal after that. Up until then, we had a lot of worries about this team, and it wasn't actually till later they got the 8 points and the 2-point conversion. But hey, I'll take it however we get it. For me, that was all they needed. I give this game ball. I'm going to start with it right now. Gunner, I look at this team and I say the difference in this game was the defense throughout, but the turning point of this game, no doubt, was that block punt.
I definitely give credit to the defense for this win. They very easily could have folded because the offense wasn't giving them much of anything. I mean, up until late 3rd quarter, the offense had less than 100 yards of offense. And that was because of back-to-back sacks by Hassan Reddick, who just abused Jordan Mailata on back-to-back plays. But they hung in there. And, you're right. The block was huge, but it could have been a lot worse. And, if they had been up against a much more formidable offense, it could have been worse. But Sam Darnold turned out to be the Sam Darnold of old. He telegraphed 3 picks. Kudos to the defense, Darius Slay for 2 of them, Steve Nelson for 1 huge pick as well. It could have gone really bad, and they held this Carolina team to 1 touchdown. When this thing could have been blown, it was 15-3 at one point. Mm-hmm. They could have got blown out, and we'd have been sitting here. It's been so long since we've talked about an Eagles win. I don't know how to act right now, to be honest. And considering how they won this game and the way this game played itself out, I'm still trying to piece this thing together.
Yeah, a lot of emotions, Devin. A lot of emotions in today's game. Like I was all set to do one post-game show, and then another post-game show broke out all of a sudden.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think we all just need to take a second, take a beat, like let's backpedal a little bit. Let's all take a deep breath. Because like for full transparency for everyone tuning in, like we usually hop on this, I don't know, with like 3 minutes left in the game. And I hopped on, I still am like collecting myself. I'm sweating. I went through such a roller coaster of emotions this game. I literally went from, even in the third quarter, I think was the lowest point, when I was just like, it's done. This season's done. Like, not just the game, the season. This is embarrassing. Nick Sirianni's one and done. He's got to go. To all of a sudden now I'm like, okay, well, we got to win. We can be 3-3. We can beat Tom Brady and the Bucks. We all know the Eagles have some way of getting in Tom Brady's head. I'm getting ahead of myself here though. But I do think we all, like, I need to like take a deep breath here, because I was pacing around my apartment. I feel like we just hopped on this call, and I'm not used to talking about a win, even though we still have many negatives to discuss, I will say.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a whole lot to unpack from this game. I think we can all say that. I think that's the word.
But let's enjoy the win. A lot to unpack. Enjoy the win.
I will say this though. I'm not surprised the Eagles offense struggled, because the teeth of this Carolina team is its defense. Even though they had some problems health-wise on the back end of the secondary, they're a very good defensive team. The offense, they've carried this offense for most of this season, and it took Sirianni a good while to figure out what they were doing exactly. And, I said coming into this game, I tweeted a couple of days ago that, of the next 3 games, this was probably the game the Eagles had the best opportunity to win a game in, but they were going to earn this one. I mean, they had 273 yards of offense, and they earned every bit of this, because, like you said, they did shoot themselves in the foot a number of times. But Carolina gave them fits. I mean, Carolina plays a lot of man defense, and you look at how many times Jalen Hurts threw the ball out of bounds because nobody was open for the most part. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, what are we going to say differently about an Eagles loss that we haven't said the previous 3 weeks? And lo and behold, the defense makes big stops on third down, fourth down. They get the special teams chips in. And finally, somehow, some way, on that go-ahead touchdown for the Eagles, I cannot believe 3 Carolina players went with the fake to the running back, and not one guy stayed out in the flats waiting for Hurts to swing out in the flats, and he just walked it into the end zone. Hey, Mark, even you with no hamstrings could have walked that one into the end zone.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Yeah, but you know what I thought on that? And you're not wrong. But you know what I thought on that, Gunner? What? That's why you run the football, because they'd actually run the football a couple of times on that drive, and they ran it with Miles Sanders. So if you make the defense think that, oh my goodness, your running back can run the football, maybe they'll actually defend against that run, which actually opened up that lane for the outside for Jalen Hurts. So I loved seeing that. I loved every ounce of seeing that. But the other thing is, you said, and this is exactly what popped in my head, and Devin, maybe you're on the same page as me here, but Gunner, when you said what were you going to say after this loss, I'll tell you, if it was a loss. Here's something we haven't said in 2 weeks. Hey, how about that defense? Yeah. The defense was playing great throughout this particular game, getting turnovers. You had 3 interceptions. You had some sacks. Fletcher Cox got in the backfield for a sack as well. I mentioned
Fletcher who?
Fletcher Cox. Your boy Fletcher Cox. See, when you taught people Derrick Gunn, they respond.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about that. Now, I'm not the only one. Basically everybody in the media was chastising Fletcher Cox. And, I don't know how well you guys know, but Fletcher Cox is a very sensitive individual, to the point, I guess Jeff McClain wrote something last week. Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer wrote something, and he wanted to talk to Fletcher Cox, and Fletcher wouldn't talk to him last week. And so I'm thinking, okay, I don't care if Fletcher ever talks to me again. I could care less, it's my job just to critique what I see, whether he likes it or not.
Be honest.
But finally, it took him 5 games, but he finally made a definitive play. Yeah, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. He earned $100 million.
That scares me, though. I didn't know he was so sensitive, because I actually talked to John McMullen on my podcast earlier this week, and we're going to have John on the show in a little bit, but he kind of said that Fletcher just isn't happy with the defensive scheme, and that's why he's not performing, and he's a little bit disgruntled, and it doesn't work for him. and basically didn't really speak too positively. Now, I highly doubt Fletcher Cox listened to that, but if he saw it on Twitter, I apologize. I'm sorry. No hard feelings. You made up for it this game, I suppose.
He's fine. I think he'll be all right. But I'll say this: other than the sack play, there were other plays, plenty of plays in this game where I did see him double team, and I saw him not necessarily beat the double team, but get a little bit of pressure. But bottom line is, he responded in this game. The defense responded phenomenally well in this game, and I felt about Jonathan Gannon's defense the same way I felt about Nick Sirianni's offense when they came out last week. I thought that there was a lot more creativity to the game plan. You saw a lot more motion. You saw a lot more throws closer to the line of scrimmage to give Jalen Hurts a chance. That was last week. Now, this week, I didn't see a whole lot of that. I saw a lot of plays that were still around the line of scrimmage. I still didn't see a lot of pre-snap motion when it came to this particular game. And I saw a lot of struggles just overall when you speak about this team offensively. But again, to go back to the defense, you see Darius Slay come up and give the Eagles offense the ball deep in the red zone on that interception. Right. They couldn't punch it in for the touchdown. Well, they did punch it in for the touchdown. Another penalty took another Eagles touchdown off the board, and you thought you were going to be in store for this throughout the game. Penalty-wise, yes, still a problem. But in this particular game, big shout-out to the Eagles. They weren't the most penalized team in this game. The Carolina Panthers, I believe, had 3 or 4 more penalties than they did from start to finish of this game. But when push came to shove, when the opportunity was finally presented to the Eagles at the end of this game to really take control, they were able to do that.